The same time they came and picked your ass up, right? They came and got Big Useless, right?
Less than 24 hours after Loose Cannon admitted something, he was arrested along with Bricc Baby. It felt like history was repeating itself because both of them were taken into custody on the same day. But the real mistake was not just the arrest. Bricc Baby had talked about his past life of crime before, but this time, he made a very big mistake. He admitted that he was paid to attack Cannon, which proved that they were part of something much bigger, almost like a mafia group. "When I make the call, I say the play, and he already knows what I mean," Bricc Baby once said. Because we argued. I think when he said, "I am about to get ordered up," he added, giving a hint that there was a bigger plan behind everything. With these words and many other things against him, it looks like he may never be free again. If he is found guilty, Bricc Baby could spend many years in prison, maybe even his whole life. On Wednesday, March 19, 2025, the No Jumper LA Instagram page shared a post saying that Bricc Baby, who is a host on the platform, had been taken into custody. Reports said that he was arrested with his co-host Loose Cannon and several others who were said to be part of the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips. The police called it Operation Drawdown, a big plan to arrest important people in the group. The Instagram post had a picture of Loose Cannon, Bricc Baby, and the man said to be their leader, Eugene Henley Jr., also called Big U. There was also another picture that showed the faces of many other people, some who had already been arrested, and some who were still being searched for. The caption said, "No Jumper host #Bricc Baby arrested." Bricc Baby was arrested along with Loose Cannon, Big U, and several other people who were said to be part of the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips. The arrests happened in South Los Angeles as part of a big police operation called Operation Drawdown. This operation was led by the United States Attorney's Office. The case against Bricc Baby and the others came from a criminal complaint filed by an FBI special agent named Andrew Rauza. According to court papers, the group known as the Big U Enterprise controlled parts of Los Angeles by using violence, fear, and threats. They used Big U's power and connections to run an extortion business in the city for many years. Many people were arrested on Wednesday, but reports said that Big U is still not caught and police were looking for him. At the same time, Loose Cannon, Bricc Baby, and at least 15 other people were already charged with serious crimes. These crimes included selling illegal drugs, racketeering, conspiracy, and crimes with guns. If Bricc Baby is found guilty, he could spend many years in prison. This situation is like what happened to other rappers who were charged under the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations (RICO) Act in recent years. One example is New York drill rapper K-Flock. He was found guilty of many crimes in his RICO case on Thursday, March 20, 2025. His crimes included planning illegal activities, using a gun that led to a person's death, attempted murder, and attacking someone with a weapon. However, in the end, the court decided to drop the charge of murder related to gang activity. K-Flock was facing racketeering charges because of the 2021 murder of Oscar Hernandez. His trial started on March 10th, and many people spoke in court, including a former friend and a witness who worked with the state. When the jury found him guilty, the judge set his sentencing for July 16th. Reports say he might be given a life sentence. Besides K-Flock, rapper Young Thug was recently released from jail after taking a plea deal in his Georgia RICO case, which had been going on for almost 2 years. In October 2024, he pleaded no contest to charges of racketeering and being a gang leader. Because of this, the court gave him time served for some charges and sentenced him to 15 years of probation. Another famous rapper who received a long prison sentence because of the RICO Act is Casanova. The Brooklyn rapper was one of 18 men charged in 2020 for being part of the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation gang. Prosecutors said this gang carried out many violent crimes across New York City. In 2022, Casanova admitted guilt to one RICO charge and another charge for selling more than 100 kilograms of marijuana. Even though he tried to leave the gang before his sentencing, a judge in New York still gave him 15 years in prison on June 27, 2023. In the last 10 years, many other rappers have faced RICO charges. Some of them are Fetty Wap, Ghana, Yfen Lucci, Hoodrich Pablo Juan, Sue Surf, and OMB Bloodbath. Some of their cases are still in court, while others have ended with these artists receiving long prison sentences. However, all these cases have now been pushed aside because the internet is full of different stories and rumors about Bricc Baby's arrest. Ever since No Jumper LA shared the news, people have been talking nonstop, and many are now blaming Adam22 since Bricc Baby was a co-host on his podcast.
When I call, I say to play, but he know what I'm on. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we argued.
Under the post about the arrest, many people shared their opinions. One person wrote, "Adam makes money by getting black people to talk about their gang life, and that is why they got arrested. He should be paying for everybody's bail." Another person said, "You are really working with the police, Mr. Adam." Someone else joked, "Adam22 must be rubbing his hands together like Birdman right now." Another person was even more direct and wrote, "This is Adam's fault." On March 20th, Adam22 finally responded by posting a video on his Instagram story. In the video, he denied having anything to do with Bricc Baby's arrest. He also reminded people that his podcast has actually helped many people change their lives. He said, "I give people chances, bring them on the podcast, give them jobs, and help them make legal money. A lot of the things people are getting arrested for, especially in Bricc Baby's case, do not seem to have anything to do with what he has done in the last 2 years since he has been with us." Adam22 also said that even though he likes to joke sometimes, he really sees Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon as friends and is ready to support them in any way he can. Adam22 made it very clear that he would support Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon through every step of this situation. At the end of his video, he strongly denied having any role in their legal troubles. He said, "Anybody who thinks this happened because of No Jumper is wrong. No Jumper was actually the solution to this." The video spread very fast, gaining more than 250,000 views in just a few hours. It was shared again on X, where even more people started talking about it. However, even after Adam22 explained himself, many people still blamed him for what happened to Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon. One comment that stood out said, "Adam, you hire people and they tell on themselves on No Jumper. That is why your name is coming up." After this comment, more people joined in. Another person wrote, "You give people a platform to embarrass themselves and get arrested. Yes, you definitely put people in position, just not in the way you claim." Some people were even harsher. One person wrote, "This is the worst kind of person. He encourages people to act foolish, creates drama, and makes money from street culture, even though he is not a part of it. Then, when things go wrong, he acts like it is not his fault. A clown behaving like a clown." Even though many people were attacking Adam22 and his No Jumper podcast, some had a different opinion. They said that the real problem was not the podcast, but the careless actions of those who got arrested. Some people believed that those who got arrested had only themselves to blame. One person on X wrote, "If you are not smart enough to watch what you say on camera, then what do you expect?" I never understood these people. Adam22's No Jumper podcast gave Bricc Baby a platform to speak about his gang ties, but there was no doubt that Bricc Baby enjoyed talking about his past crimes. Even when fans warned him that his confessions could get him in serious trouble, he did not stop. He kept appearing on different podcasts, sharing details about criminal activities from the years he spent in gang life. Bricc Baby was deeply connected to the gang lifestyle. In the rap industry, very few artists speak about their gang involvement and past crimes as openly as he did. Whether on No Jumper or other shows, he talked about it with pride. He wanted fans to believe he had left that life behind, but it was clear that he was still too attached to it. His recent arrest only proved that he found real excitement in discussing his gang ties and past crimes, no matter how dangerous it was. Bricc Baby himself had admitted before that, as a child, he dreamed of being part of gang life. He even planned on going to jail one day, just like his parents did. Bricc Baby always thought gang life was exciting and something to be proud of. Even though his parents were not part of a gang, They were successful drug dealers who made a lot of money. This made him admire the world of crime from a young age. He never hid the fact that his parents were involved in illegal activities. In a September 2024 interview on Vlad TV, he shared details about their criminal past. He said, "Right after high school, my mother got into fraud. It was not just small scams, but real fraud. That led her to travel and start her journey. My father was a hustler from the very beginning." Bricc Baby also talked about how growing up around large amounts of illegal money made him interested in crime at a young age. When asked how his parents' legal troubles affected him, he admitted, "It made me want to go even harder because I had already lived the lifestyle. I used to ride in Bentleys and live in big houses. I knew what drug money could do." The nonprofit has received substantial funding from the city of Los Angeles and other sources, but it is now under intense scrutiny. Bricc Baby's role in all of this has raised many questions. He is believed to be deeply connected to Big U and the Rollin 60s Crips. His arrest is not just about one individual crime, but is part of a larger picture involving a criminal network that has been operating for a long time. Law enforcement is determined to uncover the full extent of the criminal activities connected to the gang, and Bricc Baby's arrest is a step toward breaking up the organization. The investigation is still ongoing, and authorities are working hard to build their case against Big U and the other members of the Rollin 60s Crips. This case is one of the most significant gang investigations in recent years, and it has the potential to dismantle a powerful criminal network that has been operating with impunity for far too long. Bricc Baby's arrest is just the beginning, and it is expected that more arrests will follow as the investigation continues. For now, the public is left waiting to see what happens next. The arrest of Bricc Baby and the ongoing investigation into Big U and the Rollin 60s Crips has raised many questions about how such a powerful gang could operate under the radar for so long. But with Operation Drawdown, law enforcement is now in a position to bring justice to the victims and take down one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in Los Angeles. As the case unfolds, it will be interesting to see what new information comes to light and how this investigation will ultimately impact the future of the Rollin 60s Crips and the criminal activities tied to their name. The Rollin 60s Neighborhood Crips is a gang that started in Los Angeles in the 1970s. Over time, they became one of the most feared groups in South Los Angeles, especially in the Hyde Park area. Like many other gangs, they built their reputation through violent conflicts. One of their most well-known rivalries was with the 8 Trey Gangster Crips, a battle that made them one of the most dangerous gangs in the city. After many years of criminal activity, Operation Drawdown finally took action against the group. Investigators found strong evidence of their illegal activities, which led authorities to classify them as a mafia-like criminal enterprise. With this information, law enforcement moved in and arrested several key members, including Bricc Baby. However, this case is still developing and more details are expected to come out soon. Big U, the leader of the group, managed to escape at first, but later it was revealed that he turned himself in after a criminal complaint was filed against him and his gang. Andrew Raza confirmed that their goal was to control Los Angeles through fear, violence, and intimidation. They worked with Big U's organization to extort people and businesses in the city. In a press release, Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph T. MCN explained that although Big U's group pretended to be a legitimate organization, it was actually a criminal gang. Big U, whose real name is Eugene Henley, hid his true identity. To the public, he appeared as a rapper, producer, and philanthropist who helped keep young people out of trouble. But behind the scenes, he was involved in many violent crimes. MCN mentioned a specific case where Big U was involved in the murder of a person and disposed of the body in South Las Vegas. This shows the dark and violent world Big U is part of. Big U allegedly used fear and pressure to silence anyone who might speak out. The details in the criminal complaint tell a much darker story, one filled with murder, lies, and betrayal. One shocking example is the murder of a musician named RW in 2021. RW had just signed with Big U's label, Unique Music, which Big U co-owned with Bearclaw, Mark Martin. Before the tragedy, Big U and Unique Music paid for RW's travel expenses so he could record at a studio owned by a Grammy-winning producer. However, RW refused to record at the studio and instead made a song that disrespected Big U. This upset Big U, leading him to confront RW. Big U allegedly drove RW to a remote area north of Las Vegas. After a heated argument, Big U shot RW in the head. He then dragged the body off Interstate 15 and dumped it in a desert ditch. After the murder, Big U flew back to Los Angeles with his associate, Sylvester Robinson, who is now also in police custody. Once they returned, Big U ordered studio workers to leave the building. Robinson is accused of deleting security footage to hide the evidence. Big U reportedly then threatened the witnesses, warning them not to tell the police anything about what happened. On top of the murder, Big U is also accused of trying to cheat the government by taking COVID relief funds. He falsely claimed that his music label made $200,000 in profit in 2019 and that it had lost money, which made it eligible for government help. Big U is also accused of stealing donations meant for his charity, Developing Options. This charity was supposed to help young people in South LA by offering ways to stay away from gangs, drugs, and crime. But instead of using the money for the right reasons, Big U is believed to have stolen funds that were donated by celebrities, professional athletes, and businesses. His charity, Developing Options, received a lot of support from the city of Los Angeles, especially through the mayor's office and the Gang Reduction Youth Development, GRID, Foundation, which also gets money from the government. The charity also got donations from famous people, like NBA players. But instead of using the money to help young people, Big U used it for his own illegal activities. Now that Big U has been caught, he and his partners may face 20 years in prison if they are found guilty. Joseph T. MCN, the acting U.S. attorney, finished a press conference by thanking the police and investigators who worked on the case. These included the Los Angeles Metropolitan Gang Task Force, FBI agents, LAPD officers, the IRS Criminal Investigations Team, and the U.S. Department of Justice Inspector General's Office. MCN said that Operation Drawdown was a success because of the hard work and teamwork of these law enforcement groups. Residents of the community felt relieved, knowing that these alleged criminals were now in jail, and they believed their neighborhoods would be safer. Akil Davis, who is the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, also spoke after the Big U Enterprises indictment was made public. He said that the main people involved in the case had gotten away with violence and stealing from both taxpayers and well-meaning donors for far too long. Whether they used threats or their influence as supposed reformed gangsters, their actions could not be allowed anymore. This investigation had been going on for 4 years, and Davis said that it showed the dedication of law enforcement in taking down criminal activities on the streets of Los Angeles. So far, the police had arrested 10 members of the Rollin 60s gang and their associates, and they were facing serious charges such as drug trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, murder, and firearms offenses. Interestingly, just one day before he was arrested, Bricc Baby, a co-host on the No Jumper podcast, had a conversation with Loose Cannon about being picked up by the cops. It seemed like they both knew something was coming. Bricc Baby was the first to ask Loose Cannon about his experiences with the police, saying he had been arrested twice. Loose Cannon responded by saying that Bricc Baby already knew the answer. He added, "The same time they came and picked your ass up, they came and got Big U too, right? Then they came after me." When Bricc Baby denied his involvement, Loose Cannon became frustrated and said that Bricc Baby was pretending not to know anything. Then, Loose Cannon shared a story from a few years ago. According to him, some people wanted Bricc Baby to give them something, but instead of following their plan, Bricc Baby immediately called Loose Cannon to warn him that he was about to be attacked. This was when they first became friends, and even after all that happened, they stayed on good terms. Even though their conversation seemed like it showed friendship and loyalty, some fans felt that Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon might have revealed too much during the interview. One fan said, "They just gave themselves away," and another added, "Too much internet talk." Despite what fans think, it is clear that the police have gathered enough evidence to connect the two men to crimes related to the Big U enterprise after a thorough investigation. For now, we have to wait and see how things will turn out. If you enjoyed this story and want more updates on what is trending, feel free to click on the card on the screen.